Okay, time for the Zeitgeist, your trends tested with Ollie Peart. Happy New Year, Ollie.
Happy New Year, Ollie. How you doing? You good?
I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, it's your birthday on New Year's Eve, isn't it?
Yeah.
That must really double down on thoughts of your own mortality.
How did you know? Especially as I get older, I think each year it just gets worse and worse, you know? Like, you just kind of think, oh, God. Oh. And then the minute you tick over into 2025, it's like, oh, I'm 41 next year. Like, literally the day after. You know, most people don't experience that.
Oh, you were 40 this you're now 40,
No,
are you?
no. I was 39.
Oh, right. Oh,
but I'm
you were 30, right. So you were worrying. So just to be clear, for anyone who's in their 40s like me listening to you complain, what you're saying is, whilst you were in your 30s and your next birthday was also going to be in your 30s, you were sitting there worried about how in 2 years' time you would be on the verge of being in your 40s.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Well, thanks for the happy birthday. I appreciate it.
Now, people might be wondering why you sound a bit blairy. You also look, I should say, on our video call, like you're in the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
You might want to explain why.
I'm out in my garden. It's a beautiful, clear evening in Poole, and I'm looking up at the stars. I've got a waning moon up there in the sky, really bright.
Now, you're outside in your garden because Manfan TJ challenged you on Discord last month to check out the trend for smart telescopes.
Did you know what they were when that challenge was put forward? No.
I still don't know what a smart telescope is. I'm hoping you're going to teach me.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, we'll start with that because I think actually that I wanted to figure out exactly what that meant. I wasn't entirely sure.
Because, to be clear, telescopes have been with us since the 17th century.
Yes.
So I'm hoping there's been some new technology to justify you being this cold for us.
In short, imagine a combination of a really sophisticated camera, phone and sort of small motors that can move a device around all in one thing. So what it means is that you can have a telescope, connect it wirelessly to your phone because it has wireless technology within it. You can go, right, I want to have a look at this star cluster or this nebulae or whatever. You tap it and then it'll go zzz, zzz, and it will point itself into the location of where it is that you want to look. Whereas previously, back in the day, what you would have had to have done is look at star charts, work out like where the stars are at any given time, any given moment, time of day, time of year, that kind of thing. Line up your telescope, get it into focus, all of those kinds of things. But with a smart telescope, it makes it super, super easy. And the thing that actually seems to be the catalyst for this kind of taking off is that it allows you to take really amazing photos as well. So
yes, well, this is what TJ sent us, isn't it, that we looked at on the show last month. Amazing photos of planets, of the sun, that look like something that you would see on the front of a scientific magazine, but taken... Well, he said on his phone. So it's not taken on your phone. It communicates with your phone, does it, a bit like a drone does?
Yeah, the higher end ones do. Yeah, exactly. They have a built-in sensor.
Managing my expectations already. Can you hear? The higher end ones do.
The higher end ones do. But you are talking like £500 plus, something like that, for one of the more sophisticated ones. But yes, they'll have a sensor in them, the same as a DSLR camera, and they will snap the photo for you, and then they'll sync it with your phone, and you can see it on your phone. Like the proper pro astrophotographer guys, what they'll do is get an amazing huge telescope, and then they'll basically attach a really good camera to that, but they'll still have the motorized element to it as well because they want to track the things in the sky, and the motors are able to do that.
So how does it know where the different stars are? I mean, is there a sort of Google Maps equivalent that's got all the locations of everything, or do you need to know the precise data to tell it?
No, it knows. Because the thing about it, the stars have been there for millennia. Like, the only thing really that's kind of moving around, and it might be in different places, are the planets, but their positions are calculated. So they know where they're going to be at any given time. So all of this is sort of plugged into the algorithm or whatever. So it means that you can go, oh, where's Jupiter right now? And it will show you where Jupiter is.
Okay, is that a real thing? Have you tried that?
Yeah. In fact, I have an app right now that can do that for me. So I
show me, because otherwise you would literally freezing to death for no reason. I mean, I should say we're recording this on the 9th of January 2025.
Yes.
It is, I think, the coldest night, and obviously of the year, but possibly of the last 12 months.
It is, yes.
In a way, this could be the most dangerous challenge you've ever done for us, just sitting in your own garden for half an hour
His lips are
at
blue.
minus 12 degrees. But it is a clear sky, so it was kind of worth you trying.
Yeah, it's a clear sky, and more importantly, I have a sort of smart telescope called a Vaonis Hestia, right? And this thing it kind of looks like a big book. So it's nothing like what you would imagine the telescope to look like. And it's designed in a way that you put your smartphone on top of it, like you rest your smartphone on top of a book, and you line up your camera with the little hole that's in the top, and together with the app, it allows you to take amazing photographs of things in the sky.
I don't understand. What lens is it using then? If it just looks like a book, where's the lens?
So the lens,
doesn't it look like it's got a big lens?
No. The lens is basically...
Don't understand.
Imagine the Oxford Concise Dictionary, Ollie. Hardback.
I know what a book is. It's the lens that I struggle with.
No, okay. But imagine that. And then imagine the lens, like, built into the side. And then the light comes into the side of the book. And then within that, there is a sort of a reflector, if you like. So think like, on a submarine, periscope. It's that kind of thing. And it changes the direction of the light up into your phone so that it can see what's coming through the telescope. The idea of doing
periscope is good because then you get the sense of it being kind of internalized. I get it now.
Yeah, okay. So you've got it. But the reason they've designed it in that way is it makes it really simple to use in terms of like, can you see that?
Oh, oh God, that's just, it's so weird.
Yeah, and the lens...
It does look like a book that you've just appended your phone to the front of.
Yeah.
And there's the lens.
There's the lens on the side. You know what it looks like? It looks like a projector. Like, if you didn't know what it was...
Yes, it does look a bit like a projector,
you'd be like, oh, that's a projector. But this is very much an entry-level one. So there's no, like, motors in this or anything like that. So it doesn't move. You have to basically find the stuff. But what it does do is it helps you line it up with the stars. So you go into the application and it's got a thing called catalogue. It gives me a whole selection of different things that I might be able to see. And you can hide things which are below the horizon, so things that you just couldn't see. So if I tick that, then it just removes everything that I can't see. And it gives you a choice of solar systems, stars, clusters, nebulae and galaxies.
Wow,
right?
What a choice to have
what a
of
choice.
An evening.
Yeah. So
what solar system do you want to look at? Give us an example. What can we choose from?
Okay, so galaxies, I've got the M31 Andromeda galaxy. Potential of seeing that's quite poor, actually, apparently, because of its position. I've got the M33 Triangulum galaxy. Good chance of seeing that. The M81 Bodes galaxy, I can see. If I go
come on,
to...
give me a big player. Give me a planet. Give me Venus.
Okay, yeah. Solar systems. I can see Jupiter. Here we go.
Jupiter, that's a big one.
Jupiter is a big one, but it's very far away. You know, this is Mars is on there. Saturn, good chance of seeing.
It's very far away.
Yes. Can you tell my star knowledge?
Your month of astrophotography.
You know, Jupiter's really far away. Venus is on here as well.
Venus. I said Venus. Give us Venus then.
Venus. Okay, so what I do is I find Venus and then I click observe. And then what it has to do, and this is the bit that is a little bit tricky, and we're doing this quite early on in the evening. Okay, so full disclosure here. But it's doing what's called star analysis. So it's looking up and you need to put it into a cluster of 6 or more stars, and it will look at that and then it will work out where it is pointing in the sky. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, I can see 5 stars in that grouping. Okay, I'm going to point it up a bit. The stars are really starting to come out now, which is quite cool. Okay, so it's found Venus. So what I've got to do is there's a little target and the bottom part of the screen. I'm just going to move the telescope to follow that blue dot. And then
I can see as you're moving that telescope, I can see why the budget one now that doesn't have the motor in it, you could lose Venus, couldn't you, with just a slight tremble of the hand there?
Yeah. It's quite tricky. So
hold on, can you see it now? Can you see it on your screen? So on your phone now, you can see Venus, can you?
I can see Venus, but I mean, you know, we're not talking about high-end, amazing telescopes here in terms of like I can see little green men on it or whatever. I can just see it looks like a very, very bright star, basically. That's what I've got. Basically, what it does is when I want to take a picture, it'll take 30 short exposures. So rather than like one long exposure, because if it was to take a long exposure, obviously you'd just get a streak in the sky, right? So it takes 30 of those and then it will layer them one on top of the other. And then what that means is you get like way less noise. You don't, hardly any noise on an image, which you would get typically if you use like a high ISO, which is, the sensitivity of the film in the old days. It means you don't get that, and you get much more definition and detail in the image itself by this image stacking technique.
But is the goal then to get these beautiful photographs? That's the point. It's about photography. It's not really, because with a telescope, with an oldie-worldy telescope, the joy is looking through the eyeglass, holding it to your eye and going, oh my God, that's Venus, come and have a look. And then the photo is just proof
Yeah, exactly. And actually, it's one of the things that seems to be the driving force for the popularity in the smart telescopes is that, we live in an age where people love to share and they love to show off. And if you can take really amazing quality images of the stars and share them and get followers, then, it does well. So that's why smart telescopes are really, really popular. Because also, I do and have been using a traditional telescope. And the difference is you really have to know what you're doing.
And so when you say you have been using a traditional telescope, that's since you've been posed the challenge by TJ. You never used one before December.
I'd never ever used one before.
Yeah.
But you've got to know what you're doing, and I don't. And that's why there's a lot of astronomy clubs around the UK, places that you can go and learn how to use the traditional telescopes. But they don't have these smart telescopes. Some clubs might have one or two knocking around, but they don't have them. They use the old school ones.
And also, that thing you're using there is on a tripod. Did the tripod come with it?
This tripod didn't, because I had a tripod, but you can get a tripod that comes with it, yeah.
I was going to say, because even just for like the shit telescopes that my son's got for Christmas, sorry if anyone who gave them those presents is listening, the tripods those come with are like 6 inches off the ground. So then if you actually see a star, you have to be lying 6 inches on the ground with your face in the mud to be able to look through it. Whereas what you've got there, that's a decent... it looks like you need a metre-high tripod to really be able to use it comfortably.
Because also you want to be able to see the top of your phone because the phone's on top of it. But the more sophisticated ones, they are designed literally for you to, on a nice starry night, sit with your mates, with your phone, put the telescope in the middle of your garden, and you just tap what you want to look at. That's what
generate some clickbait for Instagram. It's just what Patrick Moore wanted, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
What else have you managed to photograph?
Well, actually, with the traditional telescope that I've got, a couple of weeks ago, there was a crescent moon and Venus was next to it. And actually, it made the BBC News website, not my photograph, just it is a celestial event. And I didn't know what I was taking a picture of. But I managed to put my smartphone up against the thing and take a picture. And I got a picture of the moon and Venus together in one shot. And apparently this was the thing that everybody's looking at. So I've had a little bit of success with that. But I think actually the one thing that I've kind of taken away from it is the first thing I started with was I've got an old book, an old ladybird book in my house called The Night Sky, right? And it's published in 1965, this book.
As you say, the sky doesn't change that much.
And what's great about it, it gives you some really simplistic ways that you can look at the sky using a pinhole through a piece of paper and then reflecting it onto another piece of paper so that you can see the sun and you can see sunspots and things like that. And these are things that you don't really sort of think about.
Oh, I've got Netflix.
It made me think, actually, and just being out here now, there is something really amazing at just being under the stars and just looking up at the sky. And I do think, I'm getting a bit sentimental now, but I do think it's something that we don't do enough, we don't think of enough.
I agree with you that it's a nice thing to do in the summer. I mean, I'm looking at you now in the freezing cold and thinking, I'm glad that I'm in my
No, but I'm warm.
office.
I'm wrapped up and I've got my cocoa.
Yeah.
I'm all right. And it was like what you were saying before about looking at something through a telescope with your own eyes rather than through a phone. We look at enough stuff through our phone. And I think, yes, it's great to be able to capture things. Don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing. And with like I said, the better ones, you're able to take pictures of nebulae and galaxies and stuff like that. It really is incredible. But learning what's in the sky and understanding what it is that you're looking at, actually, there's something really remarkable about that. Because I think few of us have an understanding of what there is in the sky and don't have much appreciation for it.
And the reason for that is that when scientists explain it, they can't dumb it down enough for me to understand it. All I know is that it's stuff that died millions of years ago, but that doesn't really mean anything. Like, I still don't really understand the basics, like, the speed of sound and light and all that stuff. I think that if you're really into it, you struggle to explain it in a way that people who aren't but are interested can really identify with. And I think hands-on practical experience, even if it is just a robot doing it for you, of going out there, looking in the sky and saying, I think that might be Venus, verifying that it is Venus, and then next time you see it, knowing it's Venus, that must be pretty cool.
Yes, that is cool. But I think what I'm getting at is that you can look at the stars sort of in your own way. And what I mean by that is the smart telescopes, they are trying to kind of, in a very scientific way, show you our universe. But you can look at the stars from a sort of mythological kind of perspective. You can look at the history of how people have looked at stars and how they've written stories about them. And then it is, it's fascinating that people forever have been looking up at the sky for trying to sort of like work out their place in the universe. And I find that really, really fascinating. So you don't need to necessarily understand all of the scientific whatever behind it. Actually just looking up once in a while. I told you I was going to get sentimental, Ollie. But honestly, that is the one thing that is I've kind of taken from it, is that doing this challenge has forced me to just stop for a minute and to look up.
Totally. I think a sense of our place in the universe, a sense of the beauty that's around us. And it's that thing, isn't it, that we were talking about when we went cold water swimming this time last year, albeit we then did plunge into a state-of-the-art sauna to warm up.
Lovely.
Of just being in the elements actually in winter, despite what I was saying about my instinct of wanting to do this kind of thing in the summer when, of course, it's more comfortable and you can have a beer on the go. There's actually something special about doing it in the winter, like in the cold, depressing, bleak time of the year, to do something that is primal and not confected by technology.
We spend way too much time looking at our screens inside. And I know this is a boring old thing that's been churned out over the last 10 years. Well, we look at our phones too much. But I'm sorry, it's true. And this challenge has made me realise that actually just every once in a while, get outside and look up. And, it's great.
And how much did you spend on this smart telescope?
This smart telescope was £197.
Worth it?
Don't buy it to get into it. I think look up at the stars, understand what you're looking at. Like, we all know Orion's belt, right? Like, we've all got taught that. But try and learn one or two more of the constellations and perhaps what the planets might look like. I had no idea what Venus looks like, but now I know how to look for it in the sky and I know what I'm looking for. Do that first, and then if you think, do you know what, I want to take it up to the next level, then maybe do some research and figure out what's best for you. That would be my advice, yeah.
Okay, well, at the risk of putting you through another profound experience, would you like to know what your challenge for next month's show is?
Honestly, this one's cut deep. This one's cut deep.
I'm a bit worried that this one might go even deeper.
Oh, no.
Literally. It's from Manfan Nina in Leon C, who says, Ollie, I recently read you can now get your entire genome sequenced for $300, a test that used to cost over 20 grand. Right. I challenge Ollie to send off his saliva and check out his genes.
Hang on. So I've done a DNA challenge for Modern Man, and now my DNA is with the company who's embroiled in all kinds of data scandals. What? They're going to
you are not getting away with having any illegitimate children at any time in your life. No. You're all over the internet.
So what's the difference?
What you did before was about looking into your family tree, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who might I be related to? What portion of me is Scottish, English, whatever? Whereas this genome sequencing, as I understand it, goes so deep that it can tell you whether you are susceptible genetically to certain diseases, like what your mind and body might succumb to over the next few decades.
Well, is that a good thing? I don't know. Oh.
Well, I don't know. That's, again, it's one of the great classic questions of time immemorial, isn't it? Do you want to know? Like, if you could know, do you want to know?
In next month's episode, Ollie, I'm looking up at the stars more because I've just found out. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, no. I'll get my genome sequenced. Why not?
Good. We all look forward to discovering that. Ollie, get yourself back to the warm, please.
Yes.
Get yourself a bowl of chicken soup. In a moment, the perils of running a restaurant. We will meet Tony. But first, it's the return of the Lumineers with a brand new track called Same Old Song. It is anything but, and it's out now.